I went from this to this in 9 months. Stick around to find out how. Hello everyone, semi-retired Bob here. I talk about the carnivore diet, all things related to the carnivore diet, and miscellaneous odds and ends. Today we're going to talk about treating the root cause instead of all the symptoms. I know that doesn't sound like a super exciting topic, but what we're going to get into is what Americans are spending on certain things. And wouldn't we be better off spending that money on a little bit of education about what sugar and carbs do to the body? First, if you're new to the channel, let me welcome you. I'm glad you're here. You may be asking yourself, what in the world are we watching here, Bob? Well, what you're watching is me walk. I know that doesn't sound exciting, but a little over 9 months ago, I couldn't do this. I could barely stand for 2.5 minutes without severe pain. Now, I'm out here walking every day. So I am showing you, if you go back and look at some of my earlier stuff, back in September versus now, I think you can see the difference. Sorry we're probably going to have some wind noise today because it's very windy out because there's another storm rolling in that's supposed to be here tonight or tomorrow. But at least for now, it's above 70 degrees and sunny, which makes me very happy. But what I was saying is that I'm trying to show you through my own personal journey that it's never too late to change your life. For those of you returning to the channel, welcome back. I am glad you're here. I do have a quick ask for everybody. One of my longtime viewers and one of my first channel members, you will have seen her comments in the comment section. Her story is not my story to tell. I will just tell you that Tampa Jan has had a successful surgery, but she's still in the ICU. Sent me a very lovely email last night. But just everybody get down in the comments and say get well soon, Tampa Jan, because she made a point of saying that she can still watch my videos because she made the ICU nurses put it on her TV. So I'm hoping that she can also read the comments. Everybody send some good wishes towards Tampa Jan on a speedy recovery. And say hello to the ICU nurses while you're down there as well, because I know what an ICU nurse does and what a high stress life they have. They could use a smile today, so say hi to them as well. And yes, today I am, because it's sunny and warm, I'm pushing my pace just a little bit to try and get more out of a shorter walk. Hopefully my breathing can keep up with us, because the last time I did this it was not quite as good, but hopefully I've made some gains. And okay, well, let's get right into this thing. I was having a Facebook discussion with a friend of mine from high school, and he made the comment, I don't remember exactly what we were talking about, but he made the comment, I'm not saying that we prescribe too many pharmaceuticals in this country, but we need a little better education on a healthy diet. But then he tagged it off with eat more veggies. And I, of course, shared the Dr. Chafee, Sally Norton video. He hasn't responded back to that yet. We'll see what happens. But it kind of sent me down a rabbit hole this morning, doing some research on stuff. Because I talked about, I believe it was a Dr. Eric Westman video. And this was, I know it was either September or the first half of October, because I was still walking around the block back in Omaha when I made this video, talking about how diabetes and being overweight and rheumatoid arthritis, eczema, psoriasis, irritable bowel syndrome, ulcerative colitis, and many other autoimmune diseases are all just branches of the tree. And pharmaceuticals designed for each of those drugs treat the symptoms of each branch. But the tree trunk, the main root cause of all of it, is hyperinsulinemia. Too much insulin. And wouldn't we be better off just cutting down the tree than treating all the branches, the symptoms? Well, and this is probably the direction we're going to get the most noise, but I did some digging because I wanted to find out just how much are we spending on the big two plus all the others kind of lumped together. And I found the only thing I could find in numbers wise was I found a 2017 report that said on average people spend, now of course we don't actually each individually take this out of our pocket, but between insurance companies and all that, and where do insurance companies get their money? From everybody else. So we are spending, according to 2017 numbers, $16,752 per year per person with diabetes or pre-diabetes. Now, of course, that number fluctuates because obviously diabetes costs more than pre-diabetes. And these type 2 diabetes, I did not include any of the numbers for type 1s because they're a completely separate issue. They have to have some insulin. They can still maintain very good control with a low carbohydrate diet. But for the purposes of what we're talking about today, I left all of the type 1 diabetic stats out, which is just type 2s. And I adjusted that 16,752 because that was 2017. I adjusted it for inflation. And I probably under-adjusted because the inflation rates, especially in the last 2 years, have gone really stupid. But I came up with the number of $20,628 per year is what we're spending on diabetics. The best numbers I could find, and this was from the 2022 report on this website of how many people had diabetes and pre-diabetes. So as of 2022, they said 37.3 million Americans have diabetes and 96 million have pre-diabetes. And if you take those numbers and multiply it by the other numbers, we come up with $2.74 trillion a year we're spending on diabetes. Let that sink in for a minute. And then I was curious about gym memberships, because the other side of diabetes, those that have pre-diabetes or don't want to get pre-diabetes, diabetes, people that are conscious of it are going to a gym to work out 2, 3, 4 times a week in an attempt to get healthier. And I found that 64.2 million gym memberships, and that was a 2019 number that I found. I know they went way down in 2022 because everything was in 2020 because everything was closed, but they've slowly grown again. I have no idea where the numbers are at today because there's not been any reporting that I could find. But in 2019, we had 64.2 million gym members, spending an average of $517 per year. That works out to $33.2 billion a year in trying to stave off or get rid of getting fat. Now, granted, some of those people are the muscle heads. I don't say that derogatorily. I'm just saying that that's it. You know, the type of person that's working on their physique, their body composition. And there are quite a few of them. But the vast majority of gym members are just average Joes like you and me, just trying to get a little healthier. And we believe exercise is the way to do it. And then all the other branches of that tree, the autoimmune diseases, I couldn't find any overarching statistics. All I could find was some general data. And I found one that said, on all the other autoimmune conditions, we're spending about $100 billion a year. But considering that they said in their report, considering how hard the information is to get, they suspect that number is grossly underreported. Another $100 billion a year. Folks, we're spending an awful lot of money treating the branches when cutting down the tree trunk is free. All you have to do to get rid of a great majority of this is stop pouring carbs down your throat. And how much money would we save overall if instead of all that money I just mentioned being spent to keep the branches pruned back? Sorry, I'm sticking with this tree analogy. Instead of, treating all the branches with all this money, what if we spent for the next 2 years a couple $2 billion in education on how to cut the tree down for yourself? How much healthier would we get, and how much money could we save? I mean, they say we're in trouble economically in this country. So couldn't we better use roughly $3 trillion a year for something else? I'm not saying that cutting out sugar will work for 100% of those cases. But being the conservative that I am, if we take a conservative number, how much money do we save as a country if it only helps 75% of the people? Let's say, only 30% have complete success with it like I do, and then another 45 or 50% see some reductions, so they're not spending so much money on stuff, like I was. I was taking 13 drugs in the morning, 9 at night. Going to see the doctor every 3 months. That's a lot of co-pays for me. And a lot of insurance payments, which, people say, well, your insurance company's paying that. Well, yes and no, because how much they're paying out overall drives the rates they charge for everybody. So how much cheaper could insurance rates be if we weren't spending all that money and could reduce it by a bunch? 60, 70, 80%. I think it would be a lot closer to 90%, but that's just my opinion. Looking at all the people that have had results with carnivore, lion diet, ketovore, standard low carb, Atkins, all that kind of stuff. If you average all that together, the number is still above 65% of people that do those things have success. And they have long-term success. So hopefully today's video has made some sense to you. I got thinking about this morning because of that comment, and couldn't let it go until I got out here and got my walk in and made this video for you. But that's what I've got for you today. I have some more thoughts down at the end, but the sun is so nice and it's so warm out. I'm definitely going to walk some more laps. I'm probably not going to record a whole bunch of them because that makes the videos too long. But I'll show you at least one here before I wrap things up. Let's cue the music. Okay, cut the music. Thank you. I'd love to stand out here in the sun, but I want this last section to be kind of protected from the wind. So I'm going to duck back here into the corner between my trailer and the buildings and have just a little quick sit down on my ladder. Oh. Okay. You'll notice there's a little bump in the video in there where I initially talked about a certain organization's website, and as I was walking my laps I realized that mentioning them by name might get me in trouble with the YouTube powers that be. So when I edit this, I'm going to cut that out. You can look for yourself if you look for websites from popular organizations that have their headquarters in Atlanta, Georgia. I think you can figure out who I'm talking about from there. But my goodness, that's a lot of money we're spending, folks. That's a lot of money. And a great deal of it can be eliminated for free. Just stop pouring carbs down your neck. I've sort of forgotten what I was going to talk about here at the end, but oh yeah. So we know why none of what I just suggested in this video is ever going to become popular and mainstream because of who we're up against. There are, shall we say, a couple of really big industries that have no interest in you getting healthy. They have no interest in Americans getting healthy. And remember, all the stats I just gave are just for the United States. If you include the rest of the world, those numbers are going to go up by huge amounts. But of course, because those companies are getting all that money, that doesn't count what we're spending on actually what we dump down our necks. This is just what we're spending on the after effects. And on just this leg of it, we're talking about a little over $3 trillion a year. And that's just for diabetes medications, gym memberships, and the overall arching effect of autoimmune disorders. So we're never going to see large-scale pullbacks and these companies saying, oh, we got it wrong, you need to just stop eating carbs and all these problems go away. That's never going to happen. And I mean, if you look at a couple of the big organizations that are responsible, supposedly responsible, that they're, the last letter in their initials is A, which stands for association. Several of those are also financed by those two big industries that we're talking about. So that's what we're up against, folks. So all we can do is fight our own personal battle of getting healthier, getting off our medications, eating the right foods, and spreading that word one person at a time, because we're never going to get the top to send this down to the masses. This has to filter up from our grassroots movement and go up, which is why, hit the like button, leave a comment, subscribe to the channel. The more you interact with each of my videos, the more the YouTubes will share them out with somebody else. And if we can help one person a day for the next year, that's 365 people. But then how many people are going to ask them, how'd you do that? And it just keeps growing and growing and growing. That's what we're seeing now. I mean, we're at the point where a lot of people are sharing their stories, and we're getting a lot of good ground up movement, but it could always be better. So let's keep the ground up movement going. That's what I've got for you today, folks. I hope you enjoyed this little video. Don't forget to get out there, be 1% better today. Have a great day, everyone. I will see you tomorrow.